The human ship Aurora drifted through the endless black of uncharted space. Its hull was small compared to the massive starliners humans sometimes built, but it carried a dedicated crew of 6, scientists, engineers, and a captain who had a fondness for calm under pressure. They were explorers, the kind who measured the stars, mapped unknown planets, and wrote down everything they found with careful precision. Captain Elena Rios leaned back in her chair, her eyes on the holographic console that displayed the nearby sector. "This area should be empty," she said quietly. Her voice carried no panic, only curiosity. No inhabited systems, no anomalies, just darkness. "Yet the readings are off the charts," said Dr. Liam Chen, the ship's lead scientist. He pointed at a small cluster of signals appearing on the main screen. "These aren't normal energy signatures, they almost look artificial." Engineer Kira Malik tapped the controls. "Could be a dying star, maybe some natural warp phenomenon," she said. "But the readings, they're strange. Too structured to be random." Elena nodded. "Let's be careful. We're explorers, not conquerors, and we definitely don't want to attract attention we can't handle." The crew laughed softly. It was the kind of humor that humans use to relieve tension, even in space. As they approached the source of the signals, the ship's sensors detected something unusual, a large circular structure floating silently among the stars. It was massive, almost impossible to comprehend. Its surface glowed faintly, with intricate lines running like veins along its metallic skin. Dr. Chen's eyes widened. This looks like a gate. Not like anything humans have ever built." "Warp gate," Kira whispered. "Maybe some kind of ancient system, if it's still active." She trailed off, leaving the thought unfinished. Elena's fingers hovered over the control panel. She had seen humanity's curiosity get them into trouble more times than she could count. "All right," she said finally. "We study it carefully. No sudden moves. Let's gather data before anyone does anything stupid." The ship edged closer. As the Aurora approached the massive gate, a low hum filled the hull, subtle at first, then growing steadily louder. The lights flickered. Instruments went wild. "Captain," Chen shouted. "It's activating." Before Elena could react, the ship was pulled forward. A bright, white light engulfed them. The crew's stomachs dropped, as if gravity had flipped inside them. The stars stretched and blurred, twisting into impossible shapes. Then suddenly everything went calm. The Aurora emerged into a new region of space, one that made even the experienced humans pause. "This isn't our sector," Kira said, voice barely a whisper. The space around them was crowded with ships, massive angular vessels that gleamed with alien metals. They were enormous, far larger than any human ship, and far too organized to be friendly. Every ship pointed at the humans as if aware of their presence. "Status report," Elena said, her voice steady, though her mind raced. "Sensors?" Chen swallowed. They're detecting us. Multiple ships, all armed. Shields active. Weapons ready. This is a military fleet." Elena's hand rested on the console. "Stay calm. We don't know who they are yet, or what they want. No sudden moves, let's open a communication channel." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Humans were not typically prey, but in the vastness of space they knew being small and unarmed could be dangerous. The comm system flickered, and a voice boomed across the Aurora in a language none of them understood. It was harsh, sharp, and commanding. The tone made the hairs on the back of Elena's neck stand up. Chen frowned. "It's not translating fully, but it's hostile. Definitely hostile." Elena nodded, taking a deep breath. "Then we speak slowly, calmly. Let's introduce ourselves. Humans don't hide, and we don't panic." She keyed the comm. "This is Captain Elena Rios of the vessel Aurora. We come in peace. We are explorers. Please advise." The alien fleet hesitated, as if confused by the calmness of the humans. In a universe where most species reacted with fear or aggression to unknown intruders, this serene tone was unusual. The lead alien ship shifted closer, massive engines humming. Its hull was covered in strange glyphs and glowing lines. The voice came again, translated by the universal translator. Identify yourselves. State purpose. Do not attempt deception. Response. Required immediately. Elena kept her voice soft but firm. We are not here to fight. We are scientists, observers, explorers of space. We did not know this sector was claimed. We mean no harm. There was a pause. Then another ship slowly moved to encircle the Aurora. The humans could see small probes launching from the alien vessels, scanning, analyzing, observing. Dr. Chen whispered, "They've never encountered a species that responds like this. Usually they would attack immediately." Kira nodded, eyes wide. Calmness. It's disturbing them. They don't understand why we're not panicking. The human crew worked quietly at their stations, checking instruments, recording observations, taking notes. They treated the situation like another research project. Every movement was careful, precise, and calm. Hours passed. The alien fleet continued to observe, never attacking. Finally, a single ship projected a hologram in front of the Aurora. It was massive, towering over the humans' tiny vessel. A figure emerged, a tall alien with sharp, angular features, glowing eyes and armor that shimmered like liquid metal. It spoke, voice commanding yet curious. "You are unusual. Most species would react with fear or aggression. Yet you study. You remain calm. Explain this behavior." Elena stepped forward, speaking clearly. "Humans have learned to stay calm under pressure. We observe, adapt, and respond thoughtfully rather than react in panic. We believe understanding comes before action. We are explorers, not warriors." The alien studied them silently. Its glowing eyes narrowed. "Calmness. You are not afraid?" "We are not reckless," Elena said. "But fear does not control us. We act based on reason, observation, and knowledge." The alien's head tilted. Its translators struggled to interpret the concept, and that hesitation was telling. "Curious, your species' behavior is disturbing. You do not act as expected." The humans continued their work, noting every detail of the fleet, every symbol, every movement. They did not argue, panic, or plead. They simply observed, recorded, and remained calm. The alien slowly withdrew the hologram. The fleet tightened its formation but did not fire. Instead, it began to follow the Aurora, almost cautiously, like a predator unsure of its prey. Elena exhaled quietly. "We've been detected. They could destroy us easily. But we remain calm. That's our advantage." Chen leaned back, shaking his head in disbelief. "I never thought I'd say this, but I think our calmness is actually intimidating them." Kira laughed softly. "Who knew humans could terrify an empire without firing a single shot?" The crew shared a quiet smile, tension easing slightly. In the vastness of space, surrounded by a powerful alien empire, the humans had found a strange, unspoken power, their own serenity. The Aurora drifted on, a small, unarmed vessel in the heart of a hostile empire. Yet, as long as the humans remained calm, observed carefully, and acted thoughtfully, they were not just surviving, they were creating something new, something the Zetherians could not understand. The Aurora floated quietly among the massive ships of the Zetherian fleet. The human crew had expected panic or attack, but so far, nothing violent had occurred. Instead, they were being carefully watched. Every movement of the humans, every flicker of emotion, was recorded by the alien fleet. Captain Elena Rios stood at the main observation window, staring at the glowing alien vessels. Their sheer size and technology were overwhelming, yet she felt no fear. She had faced crises before, collapsing ships, malfunctioning reactors, dangerous planetary expeditions, and humans had always adapted. Fear was not their guide. Reason was. "Do you think they're going to attack?" Kira Malik asked softly, her hands resting on the console. Dr. Liam Chen shook his head. "No, they're confused. They've never met a species that responds like us. Most would cower or strike immediately. Humans. We just study, remain calm, and act deliberately. That is terrifying to them. Elena smiled faintly. Let's continue our work. Data first. Panic never solves anything. The Aurora's crew began scanning the nearby alien ships. Their instruments picked up unusual energy patterns, shield frequencies, weapon ranges, and propulsion systems far beyond human designs. They recorded every detail, quietly taking notes and sharing their findings. Meanwhile, the Zetherian fleet communicated among themselves, trying to understand these strange intruders. Alien officers exchanged signals, their glowing eyes flickering with confusion and suspicion. None of them could comprehend how a tiny human vessel could remain so calm in the presence of a massive, well-armed fleet. On the bridge of the lead, Zetherian ship Commander Vaylor studied the humans through advanced sensors. The humans were small, fragile in appearance, and entirely unthreatened by the surrounding firepower. Yet, their calm, deliberate movements caused an unusual unease. Why do they not panic? Vaylor asked. His voice was sharp but tinged with curiosity. Their fear should be immediate. They should be begging for mercy. They should be fleeing. Lieutenant Arkell responded, his tone confused. They observe. They speak politely. They do not react with fear or aggression. It is unsettling. Unsettling is not enough, Vaylor said. We must understand. Bring them aboard our observation station. We will see how far this calm extends. The humans did not resist when a Zetherian tractor beam gently guided the Aurora toward a massive orbital station. The station was unlike anything humans had imagined. Titanium alloys woven with energy conduits, massive docking bays lined with alien vessels, and observation decks filled with hundreds of officers watching every moment. Elena instructed her crew to remain calm. Remember, we are explorers. We observe, we study, we remain courteous. Do not panic. The human ship docked smoothly. The crew stepped onto the station, and for the first time they met Zetherians face to face. The aliens were tall, their angular bodies armored in shimmering plates. Their eyes glowed with intensity, and their movements were precise, efficient, and intimidating. Yet the humans did not flinch. They introduced themselves politely, shook hands, or the alien equivalent of it, and smiled. Commander Vaylor regarded them silently. You're unusual, he said finally. Most species show fear, or at least caution. You show neither. You study us? Elena nodded. We study everything. Your ships, your systems, your fleet formations. We do not intend harm. We learn, we record, we understand. The Zetherians did not understand. In their experience, calm in the presence of superior forces was unnatural. It signaled either extreme confidence or madness. Over the next few days, the humans were allowed to move freely within certain sectors of the station. They examined engines, power conduits, and even weapon systems, not to use them but to understand their construction and operation. They asked questions, carefully noting answers, and conducted small experiments to test how systems functioned. Dr. Chen was fascinated. The energy output of these weapons, it's unlike anything humans have designed. Yet they function with precision. Incredible engineering. Kira worked on the station's propulsion systems, adjusting minor controls to test efficiency. She made notes of potential improvements, yet never attempted to damage anything. The Zetherians observed silently. Officers whispered among themselves, exchanging ideas. One young officer remarked, They are fearless, yet they do not attack. They are calm, and their curiosity is unnerving. Vaylor's eyes narrowed. Calmness, that is their weapon. They do not strike, yet they unsettle. Their minds are sharp, their movements deliberate. This is dangerous. The humans' calm behavior began to influence even minor interactions. When an alien guard accidentally bumped into Kira, she simply smiled and said, No harm done. Please, be careful. The Zetherian blinked, momentarily unsure how to respond. When the humans ate in the station's communal area, they politely sampled alien foods and offered Earth delicacies in return. They spoke quietly, laughed lightly, and treated the aliens with respect. It was not subservience, it was serenity and confidence. Vaylor observed them through the station's monitoring system. He could not understand why such small, seemingly fragile beings inspired unease. It is not their strength that intimidates, it is their calm, it is intelligence under pressure, he muttered. One afternoon, the humans were brought to a larger observation chamber. A holographic display projected the layout of the Zetherian fleet and strategic simulations. "We wish to test your understanding of systems," Vaylor said. "Answer correctly and you may observe freely. Fail, and consequences follow." Elena nodded. "We will cooperate. We learn through observation. Knowledge guides our decisions." The test began. Zetherians asked the humans questions about fleet formations, hypothetical scenarios, and tactical decisions. The humans answered carefully, using logic and observation rather than emotion. They proposed unconventional solutions that were not based on aggression yet proved surprisingly effective. Lieutenant Arkhill whispered to a colleague, "How can they remain so calm and still provide correct solutions? They are dangerous without fighting." Vaylor's gaze hardened. "This is not combat power. It is something subtler, something we have never seen before. It is unsettling." That evening, Elena gathered her crew in their small quarters aboard the station. "They are watching us closely," she said. "They do not understand our calm. That is to our advantage." Chen nodded. "They expect panic or submission. We give neither. They are learning that humans are unpredictable." Kira smiled faintly. "Unpredictable? Yes. Calm, curious, and confident. That seems to disturb them more than any weapon could." Elena leaned back, looking out at the alien fleet beyond the station windows. "We do not need to fight. We need to remain ourselves. Observe, record, and act calmly. That is what makes us humans." The crew quietly returned to their tasks. They measured energy flux, analyzed weapon patterns, and mapped the station's internal systems. Every action was deliberate, precise, and calm. Over the next few days, the Zetherians continued to monitor them. Word spread through the Empire. The humans are not afraid. They study us, even in our own territory. Their calm is frightening. Some officers whispered rumors. Perhaps they are fearless, or perhaps they are mad. Either way, we cannot predict them. Vaylor called a council meeting. "We must decide. Are they a threat? They do not fight, yet they unsettle our fleets. Their calm, it is more dangerous than battle." The council debated, but no consensus was reached. Every officer agreed on one thing. Humans were extraordinary. Their behavior could not be categorized. They were not prey, not subjects, not enemies in the usual sense. They were something entirely new. Meanwhile, the humans continued their work, entirely unaware of the full extent of the Empire's concern. They examined the station's systems, took detailed notes, and politely asked questions. Dr. Chen whispered to Elena, "They are studying us, yes, but I think they are also afraid, not of our strength, but of our calm." Elena smiled. "That is the human way. Calm is not weakness. Calm is clarity. Calm is power." As the aurora floated through the alien station, the humans remained calm, curious, and deliberate. They did not panic. They did not fight. They simply observed, and that quiet composure unsettled the most powerful species in the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Zetherian Empire faced a species they could not predict, could not intimidate, and could not control. A species that did not need weapons to command attention. The humans were small, seemingly fragile, yet their serenity was a force unlike any the Empire had ever encountered. The humans had been aboard the Zetherian observation station for several days. They moved quietly through the vast halls. their calm composure untouched by the alien presence surrounding them. Every Zetherian officer, from the youngest lieutenant to the seasoned Commander Vaylor, observed them carefully. Every gesture, every word, every glance was scrutinized. Captain Elena Rios stood before the main observation room, where holographic projections of entire fleets floated in the air. Zetherian officers watched her, waiting for a single mistake, a single panic, a single indication of fear. But Elena remained steady, calm, observant. "You wanted to see humans under pressure?" she asked softly to Dr. Chen and Kira Malik, who stood beside her. "This is it. But remember, our strength is not aggression. Our strength is calm." "Doctor," Chen swallowed. "I think they are going to push us harder than anything we've faced before. We'll need all our focus." Kira nodded. "Then let's show them why humans are humans." Commander Vaylor addressed the humans. "We have observed you closely. You do not panic, you do not strike. That is unusual. To understand your capabilities, we will conduct controlled simulations. Your survival depends on your choices. Your reasoning will be tested." Elena inclined her head. "We understand. We are ready." The humans were led into a large simulation chamber. It was a vast space filled with holographic projections of alien landscapes, starships, and battle scenarios. The floor beneath them hummed with energy, responsive to their movements. Zetherian officers surrounded the room, silently observing. Vaylor's voice echoed through the chamber. "This is a simulation. You face hostile fleets, environmental hazards, and impossible scenarios. Fail, and the consequences are your responsibility." Elena stepped forward. "We will not fail because panic is not an option. Observation and reasoning guide every decision." The first simulation began. The humans faced a fleet of advanced Zetherian vessels. Weapons fired simulated energy beams. Explosions flashed across the holographic sky. Most species in the galaxy would panic, fire blindly, or flee. Humans watched. Dr. Chen analyzed the fleet, calculating trajectories, shield strengths, and weapon ranges. Kira adjusted their own vessels' simulated systems, rerouting energy, optimizing engines, and preparing for impossible maneuvers. Elena made decisions calmly, issuing instructions that combined logic, improvisation, and observation. The holographic fleets advanced. Every time the humans predicted their enemies' moves, they adjusted calmly, avoiding damage and finding creative solutions. They did not attack aggressively. They relied on strategy, adaptability, and composure. Lieutenant Arkhill, observing from the Zetherian command deck, whispered to a colleague, "Their calmness. It is not weakness. They are thinking, always thinking. Every move is deliberate, every choice precise. It is unsettling." Vaylor frowned. "Their minds. They calculate faster than expected. They adapt to situations without emotion clouding their judgment. This is dangerous." The second simulation placed the humans on a hostile planet with shifting terrain, dangerous storms, and simulated alien predators. Most species would panic, run blindly, or attack recklessly. Humans? They observed the environment. They noted patterns in the storms. They calculated angles of shelter. They moved carefully, step by step, always analyzing. When a simulated predator lunged at Kira, she did not scream or fire weapons. She ducked, rolled, and used the creature's momentum to redirect it into a harmless holographic trap. Elena guided Dr. Chen through a narrow ravine, avoiding dangerous terrain with precise calculations. "Do you see that?" Chen whispered to Elena. "We are not just surviving, we are demonstrating calm under threat. They cannot predict how we will act because we do not act out of fear." Elena nodded. "Exactly. Our calm is our strength. Fear is predictable. Calm is unshakable." The third simulation tested their moral reasoning. Zetherians projected a scenario in which humans could save hundreds of holographic colonists, but would risk their own lives. Most species would react emotionally, panicking, or freezing. Humans evaluated the situation logically. They prioritized actions that minimized overall harm while keeping themselves safe. Elena made careful decisions, explaining each choice. We protect as many as possible without unnecessary risk. Panic would result in poor decisions. Calm allows us to act efficiently. Valor, observing, felt a chill. Humans were not reckless, they were not submissive, they were not aggressive, they were deliberate. Every choice reflected thought, precision, and calm under extreme stress, the very essence of control in a chaotic situation. After several days of these simulations, the Zetherians introduced a challenge designed to test humans' reflexes under direct threat. A fleet of holographic battleships simulated a real attack, complete with shields, evasive maneuvers, and weapon fire. Most species would panic, firing indiscriminately, and risk destruction. Humans, they observed. Kira directed the ship's simulated systems, diverting energy to shields at the exact moment an energy beam would hit. Dr. Chen predicted enemy movements with astonishing accuracy, adjusting trajectory calculations in real time. Elena issued instructions calmly, coordinating actions with her crew as though the situation were a complex but solvable problem. The human ship avoided damage. It did not strike aggressively. It did not beg for mercy. It moved logically, calmly, and efficiently. Valor's voice was tense. They survive without aggression. They do not strike, yet they neutralize the threat. Their calm, it is a weapon. As the humans emerged from the simulation chamber, Zetherian officers whispered among themselves. We expected panic. We expected fear. Yet they adapt, survive, and even excel under pressure. Most species fight or flee, Lieutenant Arkell said. These humans, they are calm, always calm. That is terrifying. Valor's gaze hardened. This is not strength in the traditional sense. They do not wield weapons with violence. Yet their calm, their intellect, their ability to reason under threat, it challenges everything we know about power. They are dangerous, not through combat, but through serenity. Elena debriefed her crew quietly. They are testing us, yes, but they also cannot shake our calm. That is our advantage. Observe, adapt, remain calm. Every action we take is a message. Fear does not control us. Chen nodded. It is more than survival. We are demonstrating a principle. Calm, observation, and reasoning are more powerful than panic or aggression. They cannot predict us because they expect fear. Kira smiled faintly. And that unpredictability, it terrifies them more than any weapon we could build. That evening, humans returned to their quarters aboard the observation station. The alien fleet continued to monitor them, but now a sense of caution filled the air. The humans' calm had become a subtle form of intimidation. Zetherian officers debated quietly, unable to categorize the humans' threat. Valor addressed his council. They do not fight, yet they unsettle our fleet. They do not flee, yet they survive every simulation. Their calm, it is a weapon we do not understand. We cannot predict them. We cannot control them. One officer spoke hesitantly. Should we attack? Show force? Valor shook his head. No. Force has failed to unsettle them. Their calm withstands aggression. To act violently now would only reveal our misunderstanding. We must study further. The humans, meanwhile, rested quietly. They had survived every test, every simulation, and every challenge the Zetherians had set before them. They had not fired a single weapon in anger. They had not begged, cried, or panicked. They had simply remained human, calm, observant, and deliberate. Chen looked at Elena. Do you think they realize how unusual we are? Elena smiled faintly. I think they are beginning to understand. Calm is a weapon they cannot counter. Reason is a shield they cannot break, and that terrifies them more than battle ever could. Kira leaned back in her chair. It's strange, isn't it? We are weak compared to their fleets. But our composure, it gives us strength they cannot measure. Elena nodded. Exactly. That is what makes humans Formidable, not through aggression, not through power, but through calm. By the end of Part 3, the Zetherians had begun to see humans in a new light. Their tests had failed to intimidate or overwhelm the humans. The crew of the Aurora remained composed, rational, and precise under every threat, every simulation, every challenge. The calm of the human crew aboard the Aurora had become a source of unease throughout the Zetherian Empire. Commander Valor had watched every test, every simulation, and every interaction. The humans had faced all challenges without panic, aggression, or hesitation. Their serenity was not weakness. It was a puzzle, a force the Empire could not measure, and increasingly, it frightened even the most confident officers. "Commander," Lieutenant Arkell said quietly, "we cannot predict them. They are small, fragile, and yet unshakable, calm in the face of fire, calm in the face of death. It is disconcerting." Valor's glowing eyes narrowed. "It is not our fleet that will defeat them. It is our misunderstanding. They do not fight as we expect. They do not fear as we expect. That calm, it unsettles everything we know. Prepare the contingency plan. If they are to be challenged, it must be real." The humans continued their observation aboard the station, unaware of the Zetherians' council discussions. Captain Elena Rios walked through the lab with Dr. Chen and Kira Malik, analyzing energy patterns from the fleet outside. "Do you notice anything unusual?" Elena asked. Dr. Chen shook his head. "The fleet is moving predictably, but the distribution of ships, it seems defensive, almost hesitant, like they are expecting us to do something unexpected." Kira frowned. "Maybe they are unsure how to deal with calm. Calm makes them uncomfortable." Elena nodded. "Then we remain ourselves. Observation, study, and composure. That is our advantage." The warning came in the form of an emergency alert. The station's communications system blared a message in the harsh, sharp language of the Zetherians. "Attention, humans. You will now face a real threat. All prior simulations were training. Your calm will be tested against actual fleet action. Failure is not optional." The humans remained unshaken. Elena simply nodded. "Prepare the ship," she said. "We remain calm, precise and deliberate. Panic is not an option." Dr. Chen and Kira moved quickly to their stations. Every action was methodical, every calculation exact. The human crew did not argue, complain, or hesitate. They acted like scientists conducting a careful experiment, an experiment with life, itself as the subject. The fleet outside the station shifted. Massive Zetherian warships detached and formed an offensive formation. Energy beams flared, weapons glowed, and massive hulls moved with lethal precision. Most species would have panicked at the scale and aggression of the fleet. Humans? They observed. Elena's voice was calm. Analyze their movements. Identify patterns. Calculate safe trajectories. Kira, Chen, prepare evasive maneuvers. We survive first. Aggression is secondary. Dr. Chen typed quickly, analyzing the ship's shield frequencies. They are organized, predictable, but there are small inefficiencies in energy distribution. We can exploit that, calmly. Kira nodded, adjusting engine outputs. Engines optimized, shields aligned, no panic, no mistakes. The first volleys of the attack hit. Energy beams collided with the Aurora's hull, but the humans' calculated maneuvers avoided catastrophic damage. They did not fight back aggressively. They simply moved, observed, and responded with precision. Lieutenant Arkell, observing from the lead Zetherian ship, whispered to Valor, "They are not firing. They do not panic, yet they survive." "How?" Valor's voice was tense. "Because they are not reacting. They are anticipating. Calmness is their weapon. Strategy is their shield. This is terrifying." The humans' response was simple yet effective. Instead of attacking, they exploited the small inefficiencies in the Zetherian formation. Using clever maneuvers, precise energy adjustments, and perfect timing, they created minor disruptions in the fleet's coordination. When one Xetherian ship attempted to flank them, the humans anticipated it, moving the Aurora in a way that left the alien vessel overextended. The human crew did not gloat, shout, or celebrate. They continued to observe, quietly noting every reaction of the enemy. "This is unsettling," Arkil muttered again. "They do not attack aggressively yet. They are destabilizing our fleet. Calm is frightening." Hours passed. The human crew avoided every threat without panicking. They did not surrender. They did not fight in anger. They simply acted deliberately, logically, and efficiently. Every action was measured. Every reaction calculated. Every move controlled. Commander Vaylor convened an emergency council. "This is unacceptable. Their calm defies aggression. They are not weak. They are unshakable. Prepare a boarding fleet. If this human ship survives our weapons, then we must confront them directly, face to face. They must be tested." The humans, meanwhile, continued their work. They monitored alien weapon systems, shields, and fleet maneuvers. Dr. Chen whispered, "They think they can intimidate us with power, but calm cannot be intimidated." Elena smiled faintly. "Exactly. And the moment they realize that, fear will turn to confusion." The Xetherians prepared a boarding fleet, massive shuttles detached from warships, carrying armored warriors with advanced energy weapons. The plan was simple: breach the Aurora, capture the humans, and force submission. The humans remained calm. Elena's voice over the intercom was steady. "They are coming. No panic. Observe, respond, adapt. That is our strength." The first shuttle arrived. It fired warning beams, creating pressure on the human hull. Kira adjusted energy shields, timing every adjustment perfectly. Dr. Chen analyzed the shuttle systems, predicting every move. Elena gave instructions that combined logic and anticipation. When the shuttle attempted a boarding maneuver, the humans' calm response turned the situation to their advantage. Minor miscalculations in the shuttle's approach, coupled with the humans' precise actions, caused the shuttle to be deflected harmlessly into space. Vaylor observed in shock. They survive without even firing weapons. They are not fighting, yet they are winning. The boarding fleet intensified. Several shuttles arrived at once, their energy beams lighting the space around the Aurora. The humans moved as one. Kira manipulated propulsion systems. Dr. Chen predicted every trajectory, and Elena coordinated actions calmly, without shouting or panic. One by one, the shuttles failed. Their weapons were neutralized, their paths miscalculated, and their boarding attempts foiled, all without the humans ever raising a weapon in anger. Vaylor could not hide his unease. Calm, intelligence, observation. They are not attacking, yet they dominate every encounter. This is terrifying. After hours of confrontation, the Xetherians paused. The humans had survived every assault without aggression. Their calmness had become a psychological weapon, unsettling the most powerful fleet in the sector. Elena gathered her crew. "We have survived, not because of weapons or strength, but because of calm. Observe, adapt, and reason. That is our power. That is humanity." Dr. Chen smiled. They expected fear, chaos, and panic. Instead, we remained human. That is more frightening than battle. Kira added quietly. And the more they try to force aggression, the more our calm becomes their weakness. Commander Vaylor convened a final council. The humans had survived direct assault. They had not surrendered. They had not fled. They had not panicked. And the fleet was left in confusion, unable to categorize this new type of threat. "They are not our enemy in the traditional sense," Vaylor admitted. "They do not fight like we fight. They do not fear like we fear. Yet they dominate every encounter. Their calm, it is a weapon we cannot understand or counter. Retreat. For now. Observe further. Learn. And respect. Across the station, whispers spread among Zetherian officers. Humans are not strong, not aggressive, not threatening in the usual ways, yet their calm defeats us. They are frightening. The Aurora drifted quietly through the station docking bay. The human crew returned to their work, calm and collected, studying the Zetherian systems and fleet. They did not celebrate. They did not gloat. They simply observed and recorded. Elena looked out at the alien fleet, now cautious and hesitant. "This is only the beginning," she said. "Calm is our strength. Observation is our shield. Humanity will be remembered not for war but for composure under fire." Dr. Chen nodded. "And in that we are stronger than any fleet or weapon they possess." Kira smiled. "We have not fired a single shot, yet they fear us. Imagine what they will think when they realize humans are not just calm. They are clever, adaptive, and unbreakable." The human crew returned to their studies quietly confident. The Zetherians had learned something important, that power is not always measured by weapons, ships, or fleets. Sometimes, calm, intelligence, and composure could do what fleets and armies could not. The calm of the human crew had left the Zetherian Empire in a state of quiet shock. Their fleet, once confident and unchallenged, had witnessed something that defied all expectations. The humans were small, seemingly fragile, and unarmed. Yet their serenity, intelligence, and precision had neutralized entire attacks without aggression. Commander Vaylor paced the command deck, his glowing eyes focused on the Aurora. Every officer around him whispered, unable to categorize the humans' threat. "They are not our enemy in the traditional sense," he said finally. "They do not fight like we fight. They do not panic like we expect. Yet they survive, adapt, and even dominate. Without aggression. Their calm. It terrifies our officers more than any battle." Lieutenant Arkhill leaned closer. "What should we do now, Commander?" Vaylor sighed. "We observe, and we learn. Humans are not a species we can simply control or destroy. They are something else entirely." Meanwhile, aboard the Aurora, Captain Elena Rios and her crew continued their work. They studied the Zetherian systems, mapped the station, and recorded every observation. They had survived every attack, every test, and every challenge. Yet they did not celebrate. They simply worked, calm as ever, observing and learning. Dr. Chen looked at Elena. "Do you think they will try another attack?" Elena shook her head. "Not now. They are learning. They see that calm cannot be forced, cannot be broken, cannot be predicted. That is our advantage," Kira added quietly. "And that advantage, it changes everything." Days passed. The Zetherians continued to watch the humans, but their approach shifted. No longer were the humans considered mere intruders or prey. The Empire began to treat them with curiosity and caution. Officers debated whether humans were a threat, an anomaly, or something worthy of study and respect. Vaylor convened a council with the highest-ranking officers of the fleet. "The humans are not aggressive, yet they demonstrate a power we cannot measure. They are not strong in the conventional sense, but their calm, their intelligence, their adaptability. These are forces we cannot counter. They have survived our fleet. They have survived our tests, and they have done so without firing a single weapon in anger. We must consider diplomacy." An officer spoke hesitantly. "Do we offer them a position, Commander? Knowledge exchange? Immunity?" Vaylor's eyes glowed with intensity. "Yes, we extend an offer. They will be observed, but with respect. We will learn from them, and perhaps we may survive to understand them." The humans received the message with quiet grace. Elena read the transmission aloud to her crew. "The Zetherian Empire recognizes your unique capabilities. You are hereby offered diplomatic immunity within the Empire. Knowledge exchange is encouraged. You are not to be harmed. We wish to study and learn from your species." Elena smiled faintly. "They are offering respect, not conquest. Our calm has earned it. Dr. Chen nodded. Not through aggression, not through power. Just composure, observation, and intelligence. That is more than most fleets could achieve. Kira added, they fear what they cannot predict. Our calm is stronger than their weapons. The humans were invited to explore the station freely. Zithirian officers, once tense and watchful, began engaging them in conversations, demonstrations, and knowledge exchanges. Humans studied alien technology, but they also shared ideas, principles of engineering, physics, and even culture. Their calm, thoughtful demeanor encouraged cooperation rather than hostility. Elena observed the interactions. We are not here to conquer. We are here to demonstrate humanity. Curiosity, intelligence, composure. That is our strength. Dr. Chen nodded. And it is frightening to them because it is unexpected. They are used to fear, aggression, and domination. We offer neither, yet we hold power. Word of the humans spread across the Zithirian Empire. Officers and scholars debated their nature. Some argued that humans were reckless, fearless, or even insane. Others began to realize the truth. Humans were extraordinary not for their weapons or strength, but for their calm in the face of danger, their intelligence, and their resilience. A senior officer remarked to Valor, they are not the strongest species, yet their presence commands attention. Fear does not guide them. Aggression does not define them. And that is more powerful than fleets and armies. Valor nodded. Exactly. Humanity is a force unlike any we have faced, and that force cannot be measured in conventional terms. We must respect it. The humans did not seek recognition, glory, or control. They simply continued their work, documenting, observing, and sharing knowledge. Yet everywhere they went, their calm presence inspired respect and caution. The Zithirians, once confident in their supremacy, began to view humans as equals in intellect, strategy, and resilience. Elena stood before her crew, looking out at the vast Zithirian fleet. We have not fought, yet we have commanded respect. We have not threatened, yet we have inspired caution. That is what it means to be human. Dr. Chen smiled. And the Empire is beginning to understand. Calm, composure, and intelligence. It is a power they cannot ignore. Kira added, we have survived every test, every attack, every simulation, and we have done so without violence. That is more than most species could achieve. Months passed, and the humans' presence in the Zithirian Empire became a symbol of a new kind of strength. They were not conquerors, but their calm and composure created a ripple across the empire. Officers learned to respect them. Scholars began to study them, and fleets approached with caution rather than arrogance. Elena, Chen, and Kira continued their work, quietly documenting and sharing knowledge. Their calm, deliberate approach inspired even the most aggressive Zithirian officers to rethink their assumptions about power, fear, and strategy. The humans had entered the Empire as outsiders, accidental intruders in a vast, powerful galaxy. Yet their calm had become a weapon, their intelligence a shield, and their presence a force the Empire could not ignore. One day, Commander Valor sent a personal message to Elena. It was simple, but it carried weight. Humans, we have underestimated you. Your calm is more powerful than our fleets. Your intelligence is more formidable than our weapons. You are extraordinary. We will study, respect, and learn from you. The Zithirian Empire acknowledges your presence and your strength. Elena read the message to her crew. She smiled faintly. Calm, observation, intelligence. That is all it took. We did not fight, yet we changed the galaxy's perception of humanity. Dr. Chen laughed softly. And to think, we stumbled here by accident. Kira shook her head. Not an accident. Humanity adapts. Humanity observes. Humanity remains calm. That is how we survive and thrive anywhere. The Aurora drifted quietly through the Zithirian system. Massive warships flanked them, not as enemies, but as observers. The humans continued their studies, calm as ever. They did not gloat. They did not demand recognition. They simply existed as themselves, composed, intelligent, and deliberate. The Zetherians had learned an important lesson. Power was not always measured in weapons or fleets. Sometimes calm, composure, and intelligence could achieve what force could not. Across the Empire, whispers spread. Humans are not the strongest, but their calm is deadlier than our fleets. Their mind is sharper than our weapons, and their presence demands respect. And for the humans, it was simple. They had survived. They had observed. They had remained human. In a galaxy filled with war, aggression, and fear, the humans had carved a place not through battle, but through calm, intelligence, and composure. The Aurora continued to drift, silently mapping, studying, and learning. And everywhere it went, the calm humans aboard inspired respect, caution, and even a little awe. In the heart of a powerful galactic empire, humanity had discovered its true strength, not in aggression, not in weapons, but in the quiet power of being calm, thoughtful, and unshakable. The galaxy would never forget them.